Hello, beautiful people. I hope all is well. I hope all is well. So, as you know, I do this live Q&A every Wednesday around 5 p.m.-ish. And now that you guys know the secret that I've been hiding, I can now do my live Q&A where I want to be, which is in my bedroom, which is in bed with me relaxing. So I don't know the next time y'all go see it. It might be summertime the next time y'all see The Office, because my bedroom is too warm and my bed is too comfy for me to have to suffer in there while I could be right here where I want to be. Welcome, Lily. Thank you for joining. No Limit Consulting. You're the best. Thank you. Thank you. Good Brother B. Thank you for joining. We have Lee Loves Shoes, Share NYC, Coffee Brown Sugar, Sunset Boutique. Mama, thank you for joining. Nancy D, Kiara. Hello, Get Fit with Tiff. My fitness bestie. You're going to have to get me right after September 10th. Or later, but I'm going to get into that story a little bit later. Epitome of Class. You done snuck in 3 questions this week. I don't think we're going to do all 3, sis. We might have to just do 1. That's what's going to happen, okay? Please go ahead and share this live with anyone who you think can benefit from this conversation. And also, please introduce yourself. If you are new to this live, if this is the first time, if you've ever seen me go live, then please let me know who you are and where you are from so that I can welcome you to the Land of Love community. Okay. Hey, Mocha. Thank you. Thank you, beautiful. All right. So how does it work? Every Wednesday I go live. I'm trying to cue this. That's one of the problems of doing it in the bedroom. It's not as organized, right? I'm trying to cue this thing up. So every Wednesday I go live, but Tuesday around 5 p.m. So 24 hours before I go live. Cheese and bread. All right, here we go. I post this story, right? And this is the opportunity for you to throw your questions in there. Thank you, Mocha girl. This is the opportunity for you to throw your questions in there so that I can assist you, so I can work with you, so that I can help you. Thank you, Mika, for purchasing a badge. I appreciate it. I didn't even start preaching yet, girl. Watch when I start preaching. You're going to see that I earned that badge. Thank you for purchasing a badge. Hello, live from South Florida. Welcome. I'm going to be in Florida in a couple of weeks, not in a professional sense. I'm just going to Fort Lauderdale. Keeping up with Sha. I've been seeing your IG snippets of you. I never joined. Happy to be here. Thank you. Someone said congratulations from Charlotte. Octavia is from Brooklyn. Congrats on your new journey. New to the dating scene. Just wanted to say hello. Thank you. We have Rivers Flow, who is a first timer from Tennessee. Let me tell you, I have a special place in my heart in Tennessee. I stayed in Tennessee during the midst of COVID. My husband was assigned a job there for a year and a half. COVID was kind of like the tail end of his job. So I stayed with him for a few months before he returned back to New York. So we were in Chattanooga. I also visited Keeping Up with Sha. I don't remember you. You got to tell me, girl. I'm sorry. Oh, there's somebody else from Tennessee. Yeah, I was living in Chattanooga for a couple of months. And then we also visited friends who were in, one of the major cities. All right, let me jump in. So the first thing I want to do is I actually want to start with my pregnancy journey thus far. This is very awkward to me. My best friend Paris told me that I had to come on and do a live to talk about it. Charnel from Brooklyn College. Did I get that right? I kind of didn't want to. I'm like, this is not, I'm not a mommy blog. This is not what I do. However, she said that I was obligated to do so. And thank goodness that my good friend Tiff, because I wasn't going to do it, asked me. So I'm like, okay, fine. Let me answer the question and then do my obligation, I guess, to share with you guys this journey thus far. What's my story? Oh, from ACPC. Okay. Why, thank you. All right. So let me get into this story. I guess I'll start with Tiffany's question. So let me read the question and then I'll tell you my story. And I have some real interesting stuff that I want to tell y'all and I want to put you on to, especially if you're 35 plus and thinking about having any babies. So Tiffany, where the hell is your question? Let me read it verbatim so that I'm actually addressing your question. So Tiffany asked, and I never say people's names. It's only because this question has nothing to do with romance, right? Tiffany said, how and when did you know you were pregnant? Congrats, LOL. Okay, so this is my story thus far. I found out that I was pregnant, I want to say mid-January. I was 3.5 weeks and I was sick as a dog. Actually, Get Fit with Tiff, who is here, She is the first person who said something to me because I messed up. Even though I know I was trying, I shared with you guys I was trying. I think I put it as one of my goals for the year. So like I was like, I'm gonna be pregnant by December. I was pregnant by December. So I don't know, but for some reason it didn't really register. So I was feeling sick. I was getting gas X. I was getting a whole bunch of stuff. Like I was sick for like 3 days. And then I did a morning gem talking about being sick and pushing through and nobody cares. And then Tiff was like, hey, are you pregnant? And I'm like, don't ask me no questions like that. But anywho, so that is when I took the test and I found out I was pregnant at 4 weeks. So early in the game, sick as a dog. Sick as a dog, okay? Actually, I just remembered I should actually take a step back. So this actually is not my husband and I's first pregnancy. So we were pregnant back in September. And well, obviously that you can tell that I wasn't able to sustain that pregnancy, right? So we had a loss. And that loss happened on October 30th. I was like 8th week. Like on the 8th week, we had that loss. I took it pretty well. And I mean, you guys know me. I'm extremely practical, right? So I did my Googles. I wanted to know, like at what percentage do women lose babies? Like, when does this happen? Why does this happen? How is it avoidable in the future? And when I got to a statistic that said that 80% of women experience a pregnancy loss because many of them don't even know that they're pregnant in the first place. So when a woman is going through her menstrual cycle, she would just have a heavier cycle and not even know she's pregnant in the first place. I'm like, okay, like I was able to wrap my mind around like the logic, the reason, the science, the medical stuff behind it. And I wasn't as overwhelmed or fazed. They did say that most women are able to go ahead and conceive a child right after. So I'm like, okay, I'll be all right. Andrew took it a little bit harder than I did. But nonetheless, and he said, hey, baby. But I'm like, okay, I'll be fine. Like, like this is normal. If 80% of women around the world go through this, and what makes me any different, right? Like I will be okay. It's not talked about. And as I've been sharing this story with other people, thank you, Love Muffin. As I've been sharing the story with other people, I'm like, yeah, someone told me that their wife lost 2 babies back to back. And then, was able to conceive 2 other children thereafter. So this is not crazy, okay? So I lost that child on October 30th. The doctor told me that I should be able to conceive within 6 to 8 weeks and to hold off on sex for 6 to 8 weeks. But people don't be listening, right? So we waited like 5 weeks. And literally 6 weeks it hit. 6 weeks. So I was pregnant by December. Mid-January is when I found out. I was sick as a dog. Week 4, sick as a dog. Week 5, sick as a dog. Week 6, sick as a dog. Week 7, sick as a dog. Week 8, so this is 5 weeks. And when I say sick as a dog, I'm talking about on a scale of 1 to 10, I was at an 8 every single day, all day long. I wake up at 7 o'clock for work every day. I was sick by 8:30. Like by the time I get into the office, I'm sick, right? And that's when you normally do my morning gym, and I complain to y'all about being sick. So by 8:30, I'm sick as a dog. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm at an 8, nauseous. I'm hungry, but I can't eat. I'm gassy, but it's a mess. And I was laid out in my office for 5 whole weeks. Well, not even my office. I share I've placed myself in somebody else's office because our office is warm, and I'm just laid out on a desk like this for 5 weeks. 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks. When I got to week 8, but 5 weeks of illness, right? I woke up one day and I was crying. And y'all know I'm a thug. I don't cry, right? Like, Ty, baby, it's not that bad. It's just, all right. So week 5 weeks of illness, week 8, I woke up and I was crying. And I said, God, I can't do this. I said, I can't do this. Like, I cannot do this. I said, please help me. I said, if I continue to feel like this every day, then I'm going to have to take a leave of absence, which is going to be unpaid, right? So if it's unpaid, I mean, I will make it work. Like my husband provides, like we're going to make it happen, but I'm going to have to take a leave of absence early. I don't want to have to do that. I want to apply my leave onto the time where I actually have a baby in this house. I cannot do this. God, please help me. I can't do this. 5 weeks in a row, all day, every day. Okay? I'm telling you that this is the first time I told this story and I didn't get teary-eyed tips, so please don't start with me. I'm telling you, so that's 7 o'clock. I told you I get sick by 8:30 every day. That is the first day, 5 weeks in a row, that I went from being sick on a scale of 1 to 10. I was at an 8. This was the first time that I was at a 5, that I could function, that I could do work. Like literally the day that I gave up and I said, God, I cannot do this. Please help me. I cannot function. I cannot do my work. I'm going to have to apply for a leave of absence if I continue to be this sick, because I'm not doing any work. I'm soon going to get caught, right? And I'm pushing through and just getting through my sessions. I have one of my former clients on here. I had to cancel one session. Like I forgot about it. The session was at 6 o'clock. It was like 6:20. I happened to just check my email. They're like, hey, y'all, we have a session. I'm like, oh, shit, I forgot. Emailed them. One of them said, you pregnant? I said, girl, don't ask me no questions. Because, again, of what I experienced, I'm not telling people early in the game because I just lost a baby 2 months before that, right? So I'm not, keep my mouth shut. So I just told her, mind your business. I'm sure she figured it out. She could tell us in the comments if she figured it out on her own. But nonetheless, I prayed to God and I said, God, please help me. I cannot do this. And that day, on a scale of 1 to 10, I went from an 8 every day, all day, to a 5. And from week 8, it began to diminish. I was at a 5. I was at 4s. I went back up to 5, 4s, 3s. And then around, they say normally around week 14, it was like me for week 16, then I'm fine. So right now, I'm in my second trimester. I am 5 months along. I am due on September 10th. And I am fine. I am oiling my belly and my breasts down every single day so I can diminish the amount of stretch marks that I hopefully have to deal with. And that's all I got so far. Gender, we don't know. And that is on purpose. I want it old school. I want it just like our parents had it. We do not know. All right. So then that's the overall story. But let me tell y'all real quick before I get into y'all Q&A. I know y'all ain't come here for this. If you are over 35, so if you are 35 plus, right? Ooh, that electricity thing ain't good. If you are over 35 plus, there are additional tests that you have to take, which I didn't know about. Like they always say you have to take additional tests, but yeah, so there's some additional tests that you have to take, right? One of them, they made me take like 3 Down syndrome tests, which is fine. One was a blood test. The other one was a scan. They had to measure the bridge of the nose. There's some correlation between the bridge of the nose with a baby with or without Down syndrome, blah, blah, blah. Because the chances, that's the baby gas. I ain't know nothing about that. Yes, geriatric pregnancy is what they call it. Gosh, now I'm distracted. Yes. So they make us take all these tests. That's fine. I get it. I appreciate it. There's some connection between the bridge of the nose, the length of the neck, and blah, blah, blah. Cool. Then they had me take, which included a chromosomal test. That's to check the chromosomes of the baby to see about Down syndrome and other similar, I guess for lack of a better term, disabilities. I apologize for my lack of medical lingo. Okay. So they make everyone take those tests if you're 35 plus. Got it? Good. Now, then they had me take, not chromosome, but gosh, what's the other one called? Genetic testing. So they said, 35, I'm 35, you're 35 plus, you have to do this genetic testing. They want to see if you have any markers or whatever the, again, appropriate lingo is for any pre-existing conditions. Okay. So they draw the blood, they do the test. They do it 1 week after they did the chromosome test. The nurse calls me and she says, everything is fine. Now, it's important for me to tell you that she said that I tell you that the nurse called me because I do have like a platform I could log into, but I was specifically told do not log into the platform to see your results because the gender of the baby is there. And if I scroll back too much, I might see it, right? And like I told you guys, me and Andrew, we don't want to know. We keep it a secret from ourselves and the world. So I did not look at the actual platform that they have with all the results. So the nurse called me. She said, everything is fine. Cool. I hang up the phone. I said, babe, guess what? Everything is fine. Then they called me a couple days later and they said that they found some genetic markers that are problematic. So I'm like, well, how, Sway? Because y'all just called me a couple of days ago and said the term everything is fine. Everything is all encompassing, right? No, what they meant was the chromosome, everything was fine. They called back to tell me that I had some genetic markers that were problematic, right? So what did they say? They said the first thing is they said that I had a genetic marker for something called alpha thalassemia, which is basically a version of sickle cell. It's something with hemoglobin, something that's problematic with the blood cells, blah, 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 right? So I had to Google that. I never heard of this thing, alpha thalassemia. They said that online, on Google's, there's a range, right? Like someone can have a moderate, severe, blah, blah, blah. And in worst case scenarios that a baby can die after birth with this thing, if they're severe. But again, similar to sickle cell, there's a range. The first thing I think about with sickle cell, which is ridiculous, I think about T-Boz, right? From TLC. She got sickle cell. So I'm like, well, if she traveling the world and touring and dancing and singing and stuff, and the lead of a major women's group, and she got sickle cell, well, sickle cell can't be, but potentially is not that bad for some people. So this is a version of sickle cell, then okay, if this baby has sickle cell, a version of it, the alpha thalassemia, maybe I'll be okay. Then there's the second one. All right. So the second marker that they found in my genetic DNA testing is something called muscular atrophy. Muscular atrophy, right? They found it in my blood test. Now, I don't know about muscular atrophy, but I know about muscular dystrophy. And I know I'm not a medical professional, but I'm hearing words that sound similar. Now, let me tell you about my very non-extensive knowledge of muscular atrophy / dystrophy, right? For my hip hop heads. So if you listen to Wu-Tang, and I think it's Raekwon. I think Raekwon has the song All I Got Is You. And he said that he had 2 brothers with muscular dystrophy. Now, if you watch Wu-Tang, the American Saga, you see what muscular dystrophy looks like, right? So in the show, both of his brothers are wheelchair bound. One of them can't even speak. So I'm like, oh, Sugarfoot, like this ain't good. So of course, now you go into panic mode. You're worried, blah, blah, blah. So what's the next step? They said, well, the next step is for both of those disorders, in order for the baby to have it, the other parent has to have it, right? Has to have the marker. So now, of course, Andrew has to go get tested. Because he is not a mom, it costs $500. They test his blood. Those results come in 2 weeks, 3 days later. They told me 2 weeks. I called on the 2 weeks, 3 days. Like, come on, what y'all doing? I can't sleep at night. Give me this information. They said that Andrew came back with no markers. So there is no chance at all that baby Wellington could have either one of these genetic concerns. Okay? Now, why am I telling you this? Because y'all ain't asked for all this, and I'm sure I'm butchering every piece of information I'm sharing with you. The reason why I'm telling you this is because this genetic testing is only required for moms who are 35 plus. However, if you paid attention in biology, these genetic markers are part of your genetics, which means that I had this in my blood or in my stream or in my line or in my family since conception, since September 27, 1986. Since my conception. So whether or not I'm 35, having a child should not be the difference maker on whether or not a mom gets genetic testing. Every person should probably get it for the sake of knowing what's in their bloodline, right? But if you are a mother, if you are 17 or 37 or 57, everyone should get genetic testing, because it doesn't matter if I'm 35 plus and so now I get the genetic testing. It would have been in my genes and my DNA if I was a teenage mom. So I say all this to say, y'all, if you intend on having a baby, I want y'all to go ahead and get genetic testing. You could do it preemptively. They probably would charge you, because like they charge Andrew the $500. You could do it preemptively, or no matter what age you are, get the genetic testing, because again, those markers were in my blood from conception. Actually, no, because my birthday's September 27th. So conception was like January of 1986. That's how long it's been in my blood, no matter what. All right? All right. I know y'all didn't come for all this. That is the story so far. Don't know the gender. Due September 10th. 5 months, a couple of days along. No, I'm not taking weekly pictures. I know I probably should. I'm just trying to get as much work done as I humanly can before this baby comes and disrupts it all. Okay? Okay. So now let's get into what y'all came for, our weekly live Q&A. I'm resetting the room. My name is Alison. I am a certified dating and relationship coach. I primarily work with singles to help them find the love and commitment that they deserve. I do this weekly live Q&A as a service to my community, the Land of Love community. If you would like to join the Land of Love community, all you have to do is text the word ALIGN. Text the word ALIGN, ALIGN. I have it pinned at the bottom of the screen to 888-900-5447. I finally learned this new stupid number because my other number used to be nice and short and easy. All right, beautiful people, let's jump in to this Q&A. Thank you, Tip, for asking the question, because I'm like, ain't nobody gonna want to hear this story. They want to hear about their relationship stuff. But since you asked, and Paris told me to, I shared. The genetic part I was gonna talk about anyway, but I gave y'all all the deets, all my personal business. So y'all can't tell me y'all have any shame with sharing with me when y'all going through something. If I'm telling you about baby loss, how many people y'all know on the internet's talking about the babies that they lost? Thank you. So do not have any shame in your game. If you need help, I am here to support. All right. So, I'm about to say first question, but I guess second question. Okay. How soon is too soon for sex talk? I get turned off when a man starts mentioning sex early. How soon is too soon for sex talk? I get turned off when a man starts mentioning sex early. How soon is too soon? Okay, so I have to tell you, I actually saw a post, I think it was on Spiritual Word, and they were talking about the things that are turnoffs for women about men. And that's one of my biggest turnoffs, is when men begin to have conversations that are sexual in nature relatively early, right? So what I think is appropriate, and I would agree with Epitome of Class, it depends on what you want. If you're looking for a committed relationship, if I were a man, I would not lead in that conversation. I wouldn't, right? So I'm talking about if I'm on the phone and I haven't met you, if we haven't gone on a date and I haven't met you, I'm not going to start asking you what are your favorite positions and, what I could do to you. Like, I just think that's absolutely corny and just absolutely not sexy. What I would do if I were a man is I would allow that woman to flirt with me, and then I would flirt back accordingly. And I'm not going to level up and one up her to see. It's just, to me, it's corny as hell. Corny as hell. So I'm not going to engage in conversation with a gentleman about sex before we've been on a date. We're getting to know each other. We're on the phone and you're already talking about sex. I'm also not engaging in that conversation about sex on the first date, because I know for me, I'm not having sex with you after a first date. So why am I having a conversation about sex, about an activity that I'm not willing to do? Right? But you have to decide, like, it's up to you what is appropriate. And I think another thing that women neglect to mention is that we also don't mind being flirtatious or talking about sexually related things with guys that we actually like. Like, there's a lot that we ignore. Oh my God, he's so corny. Oh my God. He's corny because you don't like him. He's whack because you don't like him. But if you liked him and he was being flirtatious, if you liked him and he was asking you out on a date, if you liked him and he was offering to take you on a trip or offering to do some kind of grand gesture, you wouldn't think it was corny. So is it that the behavior is corny or upsetting? Or is it that you don't even really like that dude in the first place? I had a conversation with a client yesterday and we were talking about a guy who annoyed her. She was annoyed by something. And I said, because whatever he said to me wasn't very annoying, at least to me. So then I said, do you like this guy? And she said, no. I said, well, as Aaliyah says, exactly. Is it that it was annoying, or is it that you don't like him anyway? And should we be engaging with and communicating with and spending time with people that we don't like? What's the benefit? You're getting a free meal. You can afford that meal. You're not struggling, right? You can afford to take your friends out for that meal and pay for the whole damn thing. You're not struggling. If you're talking to me, you're not struggling. If you're in my circle, you're not struggling, right? So why are we engaging in conversation, and why are we entertaining people that we don't like? I also think it's a karma thing. So again, if you're using someone, you're spending quality time with someone because you're looking to use them, then you are expecting karma to come and bite you right back in the ass, and you would deserve it. Because what you put out is what you get back. Okay? Do not have conversations with people that you are not, you know what I'm talking about, like romantically. Don't go out on dates with people that you don't like. Okay? Like, it's not cool. And it's a waste of their time, and it's just not cool, period. Okay? So someone asked, next question, how long should you date before becoming exclusive? How long should you date before becoming exclusive? So I've answered this question before, and the way that I've answered it is that if we assume that both parties are talking every day, so we assume that there are text messages that are exchanged every day, we assume that there are phone calls every other day, let's say, at minimum, right? Because if both parties are legitimately interested in dating, then they should be talking and communicating every day. And let's assume that you're seeing each other at least once a week. If that means a date, or if that means spending time privately, whatever that might look like. For me, para mí, this does not have to be for you. I would imagine that talking every day and spending time once a week over 3 months would be enough time for both parties to decide whether or not you want to see each other exclusively, whether or not is already encompassing, but whether you want to spend time exclusively or whether you want to see other people and you don't want to be exclusive. So to me, 90 days of conversation, 16 interactions, we need to be able to figure out by that point whether or not we want to be committed. I did not say that we had to walk down the aisle. I did not say that we had to share passwords on our bank accounts, have a baby in 3 months. But I believe that within 3 months, both parties should be able to discern whether or not this daily conversation and minimum once a week meetups are enough, dates or quality time, whatever you may call it, would be enough to decide if someone is an appropriate match, or at least appropriate enough, right? Like the 80-20 is popping enough. There's no one else who's in their purview that they feel like they would want to continue to see more than the other. Again, that's assuming that both parties live in the same city, that they have the type of job where they have that kind of time. Now, if there are extenuating circumstances, meaning that this person is in the military, they are working overseas, they are a trucker who drives cross country, then that person is not in a position to invest that same level of time, then perhaps it may take a little bit longer than that. But again, based on most people's circumstances, we talk every day, we go out or spend quality time once a week. Within 3 months, you should be able to decide whether or not you want to see this person exclusively. I did not say marriage. I did not say babies. I did not say investing in a property. Exclusively seeing each other, not seeing anyone else in a romantic way. Okay? When you prefer to talk than text, and men are texting more, what is your best response to express that he calls? When you prefer to talk than text and men are texting more, what is your best response to express that he calls? Okay? So, I think this is very simple, guys. All you have to do is say, hey, I'm not really that great of a texter, or a lot of things get lost in translation with text. I would prefer to call. What time are you available today or tomorrow? Tell him to call. You call. That's it, y'all. Like, we don't have to make this thing rocket science. We don't have to make it as complicated as what it needs to be. You let him know, hey, I'm not really that crazy about text. A lot of things get kind of lost in translation. You lose tonality. I'd love to hear more from you. So, are you available tonight? Can I give you a call? Are you available tomorrow? Can you give me a call? Feel free to give me a call whenever you like. That's it. No biggie. Okay? Alrighty. I plan to wait until I am in a committed relationship to have sex again. When should I voice? I plan to wait until I am in a committed relationship to have sex again? When should I voice? All right. So I've also answered this question on more than one occasion. I said, I recommend that you talk about, I just to say we don't want to talk about sex, right? But it's not about talking about sex. Like, I don't want folks to be like outrageously flirtatious and, ooh, what do you like? Like, that to me is over the top. But if you're talking about limitations in that regard, I prefer that folks are very upfront about it. I've had more than one client who decided that they wanted to wait until they were married. Folks who had had sex before and were abstinent now, or folks that were virgins. I absolutely never had sex before. I highly recommend that they have that conversation early on. I would recommend perhaps the first date. You may not want to say it over the phone. I can imagine that. But at the same time, I would say that I don't want to waste anyone's time. And sex is an important element of any romantic relationship. And setting the expectations early would be fair. And so I would say first date, second date is an opportunity to share and voice what your intentions are in regards to, quote unquote, holding out. That's when I would do it. Aisha says, I disagree. Okay, so you can wait, and then I'm not sure what that reaction might look like and how negative that reaction may be, because I can imagine that the gentleman might say, well, I've invested, and not to say that he deserves sex, right? But I can imagine that him expressing or feeling like he's being used if he's going out on 6 months worth of dates and putting in all this time and effort and energy, understanding and appreciating that sex is an important element of a relationship, and not knowing up front that perhaps this is not what this woman is looking for. I'm not saying that anyone has to put out, regardless to what the other person puts in, but I think it's fair that we both know what we're going into and we could decide accordingly. I also think that we should make an effort to date people who have similar morals and values in every element, right? Like, if I know that I want to have children, I know that I want to be married, I know that I want to do whatever, then I'm going to have conversations around those things to ensure that you want the same things too. And if there's any religious element to why this person is holding out and wants to wait until they're in a committed relationship or married, then perhaps you should date people who share that same belief system. That way you're more inclined. Yes, I said it's it's an important element, not the most important. Thank you, Mars. You want to share it with someone who's more inclined and who's a part of a similar community, so then that way it's not as overwhelming or as pressure filled. Okay? That's my take. Why is our culture so focused on dating or marriage instead of becoming healed or whole as a single person? Why is our culture so focused on dating and marriage instead of becoming healed or whole as a single person? I think that's an excellent question. I'm not a sociologist, so I'm not going to claim that I have a hard and fast answer, but I can tell you what my theory is, and I'd love to hear what you folks have to say. First of all, when you say our culture, I don't know if you mean Black culture, I don't know if you mean American culture, but I would like to say that I don't think that the focus on dating and relationships is exclusively a Black thing. So if that was your intent, I would disagree with that part. If you meant our culture as Americans, I would agree with that. And I would say that the focus is more on marriage and dating versus becoming healed or becoming a whole person, because by saying that the person is not healed or they're not whole, then that's insinuating that something is wrong with them, right? If something is not whole, is incomplete, it's missing. If something is healed, needs healing, that means it's broken. So that means that one would have to admit in the first place that there is something that is lacking within them that needs some kind of correction, that needs some kind of guidance or support. So that would require this person being not only insightful, but willing enough to state logically, okay, that who being rude? No Limit Consulting. I'm sorry, let me put you as a moderator. No Limit Consulting is my moderator. If there is anyone who is being problematic, she will swiftly block you. Okay? No rude comments or replies will be tolerated. And I block people who's nasty in my comments too. We could disagree. What you're not going to do is create an environment of chaos and nastiness. Okay? No Limit Consulting, you have been given the permission to block, remove, because we don't play those games. We are not nasty people up in here. Back to the question at hand, and I'll make it quick and I will move on. So again, the healing, the becoming whole insinuates that something is wrong in the first place, right? Single, dumb, right? Or lack of being married just means that you haven't gotten to a particular status yet that you desire. It's not indicative of who you are as a human being. It doesn't say or share that something is quote unquote wrong with you that needs correcting, that needs healing. So I think that's why there's so much focus on dating and marriage, because it seems like it's something else to attain versus healing and being whole insinuates that something is wrong in the first place. That's my theory. Again, I'm not a sociologist. Okay, so that's just my theory. Excelente. I can see in my boyfriend's actions that he loves me, but he says he's not verbal. Okay, got it. But he says he's not verbal, so I barely hear I love you. I can see in my boyfriend's actions that he loves me, but he says he's not verbal, so he barely says I love you. All right, so the question here is that a non-negotiable for you? Are the actions enough? I'm not here to tell you that the actions are enough. I'm not here to tell you that the actions are not enough. You have to decide as an individual whether or not hearing the words is a make or break for you. For me, it's not. And again, that is not me insinuating that you should just follow suit because that's Alison. My husband tells me that he loves me, but that's not a must for me, right? A must for me, a part of my love language is what he does, which is affection. That yells, I love you, I want you, you're hot and sexy, right? And that's what I need. You have to decide for yourself what your needs are. So if you need words of affirmation, if that is your love language, in order for you to believe that this person loves you, you need to hear them say those words, then that means that would be a deal breaker for you. So you have to decide, are the actions, whatever those actions might look like, right? If it's doing tasks for you, or like for me, like I said, it's the physical touch. You have to decide if those actions outweigh the words. And no one can tell you that you're right or you're wrong. No one can tell you that you're right or you're wrong. You must decide for yourself what your non-negotiables are. You have to decide for yourself what your love language is. You can Google it just to confirm and take a little 5-minute quiz. And then decide from there whether or not you want to continue with this relationship. For me, it would not be. But that does not mean that my answer is right and your answer is wrong. You have to decide what your priorities are and then move accordingly. Okay? Someone says my love language is food. Well, you know what? That might be acts of service, right? Like making sure that you eat, cooking for you, making sure that you are full, that you have your nutrition is good. Like that's an act of service. So that would be food. It works. It works. Okay. When is the right time for a guy to tell you he loves you? We haven't even went on one date. When is the right time for a guy to tell you he loves you? We haven't even went on one date. All right. So, well, thank you, Get Your Guy Coaching. All right. So in regards to the right time for a guy, we just talked about this, right? It may be never. It may be once a month. It may be 6 months in. It may be a year in. There's no hard and fast answer. But what I will tell you is if you've never been on a date with this guy, how the hell does he know you to love you? How does he know you to love you? I would be very cautious, not even the term. I wouldn't talk to him anymore because I would think that he's not well. Like very cautious means I still mess with you, but I am running in the opposite direction. What is he looking to get from me? I've heard stories like this, and it's normally something along the lines of this person is homeless, they need a place to live. This person needs their papers. And if you come from an immigrant family, you know what papers I'm talking about. Something is up. I would not entertain a gentleman who told me that he loved me before our date or within weeks of knowing each other. Absolutely run. Yeah, absolutely run. Everyone's saying this. Pure manipulation. He's a stalker. He homeless. I love it. He homeless. All right. Love bombing. Google it. Narc. He's a few chocolate chips short of a cookie. Yeah. I agree with Busy Bee. He's definitely love bombing you. That's very weird energy. Yeah, he's a K1. He needs some kind of documentation. This seems very questionable, and I absolutely would not entertain the gentleman. I would not engage with him at all moving forward. At all. Is it a red flag if a new guy isn't a leader and takes initiative? Wants me to make the first move, feels lazy to me. Is it a red flag if a new guy isn't a leader and takes initiative? Wants me to make the first move, feels lazy to me. This goes right back to what we were talking about earlier, about what your non-negotiables are. If you have a list, is what I recommend for my clients, a list of 5 to 6 non-negotiables. These are behaviors and traits that a man or woman must have in order for you to consider dating them. And if being a leader or taking initiative is a part of your non-negotiables, then this is a red flag for you. It is an inappropriate match for you. It is undesirable for you. It's unattractive for you. And so, yes, this is a red flag and you should not date him because he's not meeting what you're looking for in terms of morals, values, and character. Please note that's what I said. 5 to 6 non-negotiable traits, behaviors, character. I did not say he needs to be 6'6", dark skin with a beard that connects with straight white teeth. I didn't say that. I didn't say that he needs to make 6 figures. 6 behaviors, traits. Because what happens many times, especially for women in our 20s, is that we go after this uber attractive guy who has nothing going for himself. He hurts us. He burns us. He plays us. And then it's, the men, where we make very poor choices. We need to make better choices. And men are not excluded from this too. They make very poor choices too. Especially in our 20s. We're young, we're dumb, we don't know what we're doing, right? We go after the video vixen looking chicks, and then we're surprised when they use us, and then we say women are gold diggers. Well, yeah, because you're going after the woman who clearly is living a gold digging life, and then you're surprised. You are surprised when the women that you want to date want to get their body done, but look at how you is the word admonish? I don't even know. That might be the antonym. But you love on, you like, you share, you sweat, you DM, you're thirsty over those women with those physiques, and then you're surprised when the women that you date want those same figures. Like, we have to be more practical, and we have to make better choices as to how we decide whether or not someone is an appropriate match. But my bad. That's not what you asked me. The new guy is not a leader, doesn't take initiative. If that bothers you, then he's an inappropriate match, and you should keep it moving, yes. But there's no, for the most part, unless we're talking about abuse, there's no, there aren't many universal red flags. Unless we're talking about abuse, unless we're talking about narcissistic behaviors, what's a red flag for you isn't a red flag for me, isn't a red flag for her, isn't a red flag for them. So you have to decide if that's inappropriate for you, then, which I would agree, I would also agree that's quite unattractive. So this is not outrageous. But if it's a red flag for you, then you keep it moving. Okay? How do you know if you and your significant other are ready for marriage? How do you know if you or your significant other is ready for marriage? Okay. Sorry, Shot. Yes, yes and no. So my coaching program, The Partner You Deserve, is for singles. Single as a dollar bill. Absolutely single. I had a client who told me she was single. She was still missing on her ex. The program didn't work, and she was surprised. Because it's created for singles, I make that abundantly clear. My name is Alison. I'm a certified dating and relationship coach. And I primarily work with singles to help them find the love and commitment that they deserve. But I do what I call alignment calls, one-off sessions, and that's for any and everybody. Couples, individuals. You're struggling with your mama, you can book an individual session. But my full-on coaching program are for singles, yes. Okay? How do I know, or how do you know if you or your significant other are ready for marriage? So the quick answer would be, in this particular case, if both parties want marriage, right? We're going to start with that. Is this something that both parties want? Then from there, it's going to say, do you want it with each other? And if you don't have it, as I always say, if it's not an emphatic yes, then to me it's a no. You're not ready. If you have to question it, then I would say that you're not ready. Now, it doesn't mean, and I want to be super clear here. If you have to question it, the questioning can come from fear. So you may actually be ready, like in reality you're ready, but you're questioning it because of former heartbreak. You're questioning it because you're a divorcee. You're questioning it for whatever reason, right? That's not anything to do with the actual ability for the marriage to thrive. But if you are still dealing with those kind of not boundaries, but like those kind of elements that are causing you to have that fear, then that means you need to work that out first before you can take that step. So if you're questioning it, it means you're not ready. It doesn't mean that the marriage couldn't thrive without it. Like it could function, yes, and be fulfilling and amazing. But at the same time, if you still have to question it and there's nothing wrong with the relationship itself and you imagine that you could be happy and fulfilled, that means that there's something that's beyond the relationship itself. There's some kind of fear, there's some kind of concern, rational or irrational, that you should work out with a therapist. Seeing where these issues are coming from, dissolving them hopefully, and then moving forward. I hope that answers your question. I'm 42, dating a 24-year-old man. He's mature and owns his business. Can I keep a 17-year different relationship? Can you? Yes. Would I have recommended it before it started? No. Can you keep it? Yes. Could it work? Yes. Is there a possibility? Yes. But had you and I met before you started dating this gentleman, I would not have recommended it. I just believe that even for someone who's mature, a 17-year gap at this age, right? When someone's like 60 and 77, 17 years ain't no big thing. But 42 and then a 24-year-old man, and even if it were the genders were swapped, to me, there are too many grave differences, at least on the surface, that would caution me from advising anyone to jump into a relationship of that sort. Y'all already together. So don't worry about what my opinion is. My opinion doesn't matter. How is the relationship functioning? Are you fulfilled? Are you happy? Is he fulfilled? Is he happy? Do you see growth and development? Your age at this point, because you're already in the relationship, doesn't really matter. What matters is the quality of said relationship. And if said relationship is thriving, then who the hell cares about our opinion about 17 years? Who cares? Again, if you would have asked me before you got in, I would not have recommended it. Okay? Should my mission be to scout for a mate or just live the moment in social settings? Yes, that is a good question. Does he want children? That definitely matters, because if he does and you do and y'all don't get started like yesterday, then that might become problematic. That's an important question. Should my mission be to scout for a mate? This is coming from a woman. Or just live the moment in social settings? So what I teach my clients in the coaching program, The Partner You Deserve, is to make yourself available. You have to put yourself out there. What does this mean? Both online or offline. That is my recommendation. I know a lot of people think of me as I'm like the online person. It's not about that. It's about I want to multiply the amount of opportunities that are available to me. If I want to lose weight, I'm going to diet and exercise. I could just diet. I could just exercise. I could just recommend online dating. I could just recommend in-person dating. But why would I limit myself when both opportunities are available to me and I'm looking to get results as quickly as possible? Okay? So my recommendation is not necessarily to scout for a mate, but it's putting yourself out there. Women constantly say, I used to get into this fight a lot. I don't really say it as much, but I'm still scarred, so I bring it up all the time. It's up for a man to find me and I want to be found. Okay, but you can't be found if you're hidden under a rock. So even in the case of you shouldn't be doing the finding and you should be found, and that's biblical, and let's talk about all the other biblical violations that we all do every single day. But when it comes to you being 37, 41, 52, it's, oh, well, the Bible says, okay, the Bible says I need to be found, right? Where's my Boaz and all that other kind of stuff that we like to throw around and don't even use the whole quotation, don't even have an understanding of the context. But nonetheless, that's just me being angry. He's still got to find you, which means that you still have to put yourself in a position to be found. That means, yes, you should be going out socially. Yes, you should be on dating apps. Yes, you should be engaging in conversation. Yes, you should be warm. Yes, you should be welcoming. You should be giving someone the impression that you want to be approached. Excuse me, baby gas. It's not like in what world do we expect to quote unquote be found if we are in our rooms watching Netflix, eating ice cream all day long? Half of us already work from home. When and where are you going to be found? Ruth went into that field. Thank you. You have to put yourself in a position to be found. How are you going to get hired for a job if you don't write the resume, you don't apply on Indeed, you don't go store to store, which nobody does anymore, but you get the point. You have to put yourself in a position to get the interview. You have to put yourself in a position to go on the date, to be engaged in conversation, potentially with strangers. So are you doing the scouting? No. That doesn't absolve you from the responsibility of putting yourself in a position to be spoken to be approached. You can also do a bit of approaching too, y'all. Ladies, what does this approaching look like? And I give grave detail and all the tea in my coaching program, The Partner You Deserve. I want you to click the link in my bio, check out the free training first. If it makes sense to you and you're in a position to invest in yourself and hire a coach, because no coach is going to be cheap. They are fast tracking your results that you clearly have not been able to get on your own in the last 30 years, 35 years, 37 years, 40 years, 45 years. This is a fact. It's not me. Okay. Then I want you to do that. This is where I give all the insight. But for the quick answer, because I do have a session of people who paid their money in 3 minutes, is that you're not scouting for men, but you should also do some approaching. You can say, hi, my name is Alison. I'm here supporting my nephew at his high school football game. Are any of the kids on the field yours? You can engage in normal conversation with someone who you find attractive. And guess what? For the most part, because we like to pretend that all men cheat and all men are dishonest and all men blah, blah, blah. If they have a wife, they bring it up mad early. Oh, yeah, me and my wife. Oh, yeah, me and my wife. Oh, yeah, me and my wife. You check out the ring finger. Is there anything that's questionable on the ring finger? Right? You ask some questions later on. Oh, your son, he's the star quarterback. That's amazing. Right? You could be a little flirtatious, a little presumptuous. So, are you and your wife excited about the college opportunities for your son? I didn't say, would you like to take me out on a date because you cute and I'm cute and we cute together? I'm engaging in natural, normal conversation with a gentleman that I saw from afar that I thought was attractive. And let's see what his responses are. Is everybody honest? No. Everybody ain't a liar neither. And if we like to pretend that there's pee in the dating pool, well, you in the dating pool too, so you contribute into it. Or you're amazing. And if you're amazing and you're in the pool, that means by default there has to be other amazing people too. I know women are afraid of rejection. They need to suck it up. Men have been rejected 24/7 all day, every day. They always are. They done grew up in rejection. They alright. You gonna be alright too. You gonna be alright too. What you gonna do? Sit around and hope and pray that things just fall into your lap? Well, good luck. When has anything ever fallen into your lap? When has your career, your degree, your house, your nice car, when has anything ever fallen into your lap? I mean, unless, I don't know, you Hillary Banks and you just born with a silver spoon and everything just works out for you, right? Like, nothing ever does. You have to put in the effort and work. There is nothing, at least in my life, and maybe I'm speaking from a biased perspective, that I have not had to earn. So you think that this dude is just going to just roll up on you? I mean, he could, but roll up where? You got to be out. On that note, my beautiful people, it has been such a pleasure. you will see me at minimum back here next Wednesday for live Q&A. Again, the way that it works is I put a green story. It's the same green story every Tuesday around 5 p.m., 24 hours before I go live. That's where you drop the questions. I do not have the time to take your questions on the live, so you have to go ahead and throw it in there. I try my best to get through as many questions as I can. If I didn't get to yours, and you can't wait till next Wednesday, click the link in my bio to book an alignment call. That's a single session. If you want to vet me to see if I'm a good match to be your coach, check out my free stuff. You could click the link in my bio, check out the free stuff. And if you're ready to take action, because the free ain't working, all the YouTube isn't working, all the podcasts aren't working, and time is of the essence, and you recognize that, and you're ready to invest in yourself, stop being an El Cheapo, and invest in yourself so you can have the future that you want, click the link in my bio and you can book a consultation call to talk about the program. The program is an investment. It is. Make it happen. Gotta go with the people who are ready to invest, and they already did, and they're seeing results. Gotta holler at them. Love y'all. Have a good one.